Back again so soon, so quickly, again with ukulele, solid spruce. Actually I think these are laminate spruce tops. Can't tell, they've really still stretching out. One of these days I'll learn the tune before I turn the camera on. It's so annoying, isn't it? Anyway, these are really nice, full, woody sounding ukuleles with the Aquila strings. I'm fairly sure these are laminate top, but sometimes laminate ukes sound good. You'll remember a video I did on the UK Boy ukuleles a long time ago. Most of those are laminate, and they sound great. I've had a load of those come through my shop, and people love them. I thought I'd try some new ukuleles that I saw floating around one of the auction sites that were completely unbranded. And the reason why I thought I'd try these, one is because they have the right appointments. They have the rosewood boards, what looks to be some sort of mother of pearl, although it's probably not. Nice resonant spruce tops. And this is the interesting thing. I'll see if I can pick up some figure on this. This is being advertised as cacao, which means chocolate, does it not? Pineapple wood, which is something that I've not seen. Pineapple wood backed ukuleles. Now of course we've seen pineapple shaped ukuleles, which is a thing, but this is actually pineapple wood. According to the distribution I got it from, and they make a similar ukulele, very similar, same ukulele, this time with rosewood. And hopefully the light will catch some of that figure. And of course this one's a lot more money. When I say a lot more, it's $15 more than the other model. But it doesn't sound any better. In fact, I actually prefer the pineapple one. It just has, for me, I like a very woody sound. I don't like guitars that sound like they're made out of glass, you know, there's no wood resonance. And some people do, they like all that mid and high end. I like a little bit of bottom end in any string instrument I'm playing. So that one's a little bit more trebly than the pineapple one. And then the third one in this series, and this is all from the same distribution, is again another one of these spalted maple ukuleles. This time with a matte finish, unlike the one I showed you on the last video. Really interesting figure on this one. Just really eye-catching. And spalted maple, if you haven't tried one, is quite a resonant hardwood. It's not spruce or cedar, but it's not as hard as koa. It's slightly softer than koa. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me, but I think I'm right. And of course it's maple. Maple has been used on violins and cellos and basses for centuries, so it's definitely a good backwood. But I'm coming across these all solid maple ones that sound really decent. And this one's interesting because it's got sort of like an electric guitar headstock on it with the 4-in-a-line tuners. Not sure if I like that. It doesn't really put me off or anything, but you know, it's different. It'll be a selling point for sure. Somebody will either they'll take to that or they won't. You know, people are either very daring or very conservative in what they want in instruments. There's very few in between. But anyway, these are completely unbranded. Now they're not quite as clean as the last batch I showed you in the last video, and I'll give you some telltale signs of that. First of all, it's fully kerfuffled, which is good, so they're properly made, but as I look in here in the sound hole, it's not quite as clean. The glue cleanup is a bit sloppy, so these were, you know, we have to imagine these are produced very quickly. I would imagine they're Chinese or Asian. They're good, they sound decent, they need a lot of setup, and I think you can pick these up for about, I don't know, $80 on different auction sites. You need a lot of setup. This string, the edges are very sharp. There's a couple high frets that need to be addressed. So yeah, if you get stuff like this, learn to do setup on a uke, or have somebody handy like me that can do it for you. Or you know, you'll take it to a shop if you want to pay, but you know, when you add the $50–60 that shops will charge you for a basic setup, it kind of blows the deal out. You know, you're no longer getting a deal, are you? So yeah, these are interesting. They could be a little bit cleaner on the inside. I kind of like the rough appeal on this. It's very, very, it almost looks like bare wood. It's got a very slight oil rub, let's say. And I kind of like that sort of rough look appeal on ukuleles. Something like this would be great for taking out to the park or to the beach or to around the campfire. And you know, they don't sound bad with Aquila strings on them, which are my personal favorite brand. So I just thought I'd show you these. These are just 3 unbranded ukes that I picked up that I had to do a full setup on. And my favorite by far is the pineapple backed one. It just sounds the best to my ears. And you'll hear a slight. You hear that? That is a high fret. The 3rd fret's high, so I'm going to have to trim that down, and that'll sound great. I'm not sure if you'll like this kind of stuff on the sound holes, if it focuses. Some people do, some people don't. This is very popular. It's called etching. So they sort of burn it in, and it's sort of a very twee design, and sometimes that puts people off. They prefer a plain sound hole like this, which has no etching or engraving or inlay around the sound hole. But some people quite like these etched designs. They're ubiquitous on these cheaper made ukes, so make sure that you look at, if you're buying one of these online, study the photographs, the close-up photographs, because sometimes I think the designs are a little bit garish. This one's alright, it's just basically squiggles, so it doesn't look too bad, but sometimes the designs are, yeah, they don't quite do it for me. So that's another thing. I know the sound is the most important, but on a lot of these cheap ukes, they do some silly stuff on the, you know, the small details. You know, that I've seen him with a really crappy owl drawing here or something like that, which to me just makes it look cheaper. So I'd rather just have something a bit more plain, a bit more classic, with nice lines that you can clean up and make a good uke out of. I quite like this headstock shape. It's very traditional. It's not the crown, but it's their own take. It's quite long, but it's a very slender, sleek looking headstock. Looks good on the tenor. So here are 3 completely unbranded ukes that you can turn into good ukuleles. If I can remember, I will put where I got them from in the description, or maybe I shouldn't, so you'll buy this one. Anyway, just sharing the stuff that comes across my shop table, and you know, hopefully this is helpful to see some of these brands that I cannot find a single video on YouTube. So I feel like I'm providing some sort of service, or at least giving some instruction how to evaluate stuff that you've never seen before, never heard of before. So maybe that's helpful. And I'll see you next time.